Girls of Reddit, how do you know when a guy is genuinely good and not just trying to get into your pants? I remember the first time I kissed my now husband, who was clearly very interested in a relationship with me for a few months beforehand. I asked him what it was he liked about me, and he gave me the most thoughtful, detailed answer with real examples of a time I did something he found sweet or beautiful. I couldn't help but kiss him after that. He's still the best person I know. If he interacts the same way with other people. Oh good. I whistle and yell, "Hey baby," at everyone in the street anyway. 1. If he remembers little details about you, like your dog's name or your sister's job, i.e., he actually pays attention when you talk. 2. If he remembers the answer you gave when he asked, "What's up?" by following up with, "Oh, how did insert thing you did here go?" 3. If he makes an effort to talk to you instead of just bugging you to hang out with him. 4. If he doesn't constantly try to steer conversations towards flirting sexual comments. 5. If he's perfectly fine with you not being able to hang out if stuff comes up. Those are some of the things I look for, but then again I've been fooled before. Trust your gut too. When he does nice things then doesn't make a big deal out of it, because he's doing it for the sake of being a good person, rather than hoping to get something extra out of it. Like if someone gives you a lift home and doesn't mention it ever again, except to reject monetary payment. Nice guys TM will give a lift home and then not let you out of the fecking car afterwards, saying, "Wow, that was a really nice thing I did for you, what are you going to do for me?" Agreed. The night I knew I'd marry my husband was before we even started dating. I knew he'd been interested for a few months, but I wasn't available, and he respected that. Never pushed the boundaries I had set. One night I was working a late shift and got ready to leave at about 10 p.m. I'd been dropped off earlier in the afternoon because my dumbass forgot to put gas in my car, so it was sitting on the side of the freeway about 1-2 hour drive away. I called my ride multiple times. Nothing. I called my roommate. Nothing. Called my friend that lived in the same town. Nothing. Sent out texts. After half an hour, no replies. I knew my coworker, now husband, lived in a town between where we worked and where I lived. I decided to call up a guy I barely knew outside of work and hope he was as kind as he seemed to be. 15 minutes later he was picking me up. Of course I was embarrassed and beside myself that no one had answered my calls, texts. He drove me to the nearest 24-hour store, bought a gas jug, drove to a gas station, went in to pay for the gas, came out with a cup of coffee too. It was just turning cold out, drove me back to my car, got me squared away and followed me back to the same gas station so I could fill up in case something went wrong. Y'all, I had plenty of money, I'm just forgetful. I stated this multiple times throughout the night. He just kept saying, "You've had a long day, let me help." We get to the gas station, he fills up my tank, and came back out with a pack of the brand of cigarettes I smoked at the time. Neither of us smoke anymore, but that was part of how we bonded starting out. Me, "You didn't have to do that." Him, "You said you were out." Me, "I can buy a pack in the morning, you keep 'em." Him, "You know I don't smoke this brand." And hands them to me. We're standing there, having a smoke, wrapping up the night. And I just start tearing up and tell him, "I'm glad you exist." That's been something we repeat to each other now and then to this day. He never brought it up after that, except years later to tell me how pissed off he was that no one came to get me. And to confess that no one had ever told him they were happy he existed, and that he was happy he hadn't decided to drink that night like he normally would have. My boyfriend is awesome at non-sexual affectionate touch. I appreciate it so much. He was from the start. Forehead kisses, side hugs, hand-holding with no need for a reciprocal blowjob. I knew my husband was a keeper. He had been my friend first, but we lost contact because he had a crazy girlfriend. When we reconnected, she was officially his ex-girlfriend, but I had an emotionally abusive fiancé. He talked me out of it. He helped me get the courage to leave, and then he waited for me to heal. I gave him no time frame. I told him that I needed to be single before I made another commitment because he deserved to have all of me and be more than a rebound. Neither of us saw other people, we talked every day. I told him he didn't have to wait, but he insisted. When we saw each other again for the first time, he was an OTR truck driver, it clicked. We were meant to be. He switched to regional driver, I went back to college, and now we're building our lives. 7 years together, for married. Nice guys are nice to you. Nice guys are nice to people they don't want to get anything out of. I also have a theory that nice guys in the U should have sex with me. I'm a nice guy since don't realize that being nice is the bare minimum. And thus you have to bring something else to the table. Be funny. Be smart. Be interesting. Hell, be attractive. I'd be lying if I said there wasn't some appeal in aesthetics. But don't claim nice like that's an achievement. You're supposed to be nice. Bragging about it is a sign that you don't understand that, and it's a pretty good indication that it's not genuine. Respects your boundaries. It wasn't until my current BF that I realized my feelings of feeling weirded out by all the guys before him was justified. They always pushed when I expressed hesitation or discomfort. I told my BF I wasn't ready, and he didn't make a move again for another 2 months until I was ready and initiated it myself. This is my story too. It's so common that we just learn to fear all guys simply because 90% of them push some sort of boundaries. It's so refreshing to meet one that actually respects them. My husband was the first guy I was with who wasn't just paying lip service by saying he'd wait until I was ready. One guy thought it meant, try again in 15 minutes. Another counted down dates until he thought he'd waited long enough. I realized later they both just used me for sex. You can never know, and I'm not a girl. But my soul says that she could tell with me because I was the same around her as I was my friends and her friends. I was respectful to her family, and I had a good career. Even then there was skepticism at the start, but I just kept hanging out with her, and then we just had sex one day. It was a good day. I used to think that I was kind of obligated to have sex with my boyfriends when they wanted it just because that was what you did in order to be a good girlfriend. A few of my exes expected sex, so I just complied, even if I wasn't feeling well or was tired or whatever. One day I was really sick and my current boyfriend was helping me out. I told him that I felt really bad, but I just didn't think I could have sex that night. He looked me dead in the eye and said, "I don't need to have sex with you to love you." I learned a lesson that night about what a good man is. This shit is blowing my mind. I am flabbergasted by how many people have had the same similar experiences of being pressured to engage in sexual activity often enough that it became normalized. Not even as a hormonal, sex-crazed teenager would I have dreamed of pressuring someone into sex. Maybe I need to call up my parents or something and thank them for making sure I wasn't a piece of shit. It's generally easiest to tell through how they treat people differently, but seeing them learn about your relationship status is obviously a shortcut if it's available to you. It's always a bummer when you're having a great time with a group of people and a guy you were hitting it off with, platonically in your view, learns you're in a relationship and immediately starts to ignore you. It always really makes me sad, not that it happens a ton, I'm not a smoke show or anything. It's like, oh, I guess I'm just not as funny and interesting as I thought I was. That person didn't actually enjoy our conversation. He was just working on a potential lead. It really brings you low as a woman to see that guy continue to enthusiastically socialize with the other guys in attendance after he stopped talking to you upon discovering your unavailability. In all honesty, if I was hitting it is with someone and then I found out that the other person is in a relationship, it can feel really awkward and I then have no idea what to do. That may be why I dip out of that encounter. The first time my boyfriend and I hung out, we drank a bit too much, and I ended up staying the night. He offered to stay on the couch, but I told him he could sleep in his bed with me. He never tried making a move, we just cuddled all night. He was truly a gentleman, and I couldn't have asked for a better man in my life. You know a guy is genuinely good if he has a large anime collection that ranges from figures, manga, DVD sets. If he has a katana, wears a dashing fedora, has a well-kept and well-moisturized neck beard by Mountain Dew, Doritos and grease, weighs at least 300 pounds, lives in his mom's basement at 37. Honestly, these type of guys are so much more genuine than a typical Chad trying to get laid. How do you know when a guy is genuinely good? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.